1993, the first UFC. Royce Gracie shocked the world by proving that size and strength don't matter. Technique does. Meanwhile, Mike Tyson, the most feared boxer on the planet, was locked away in prison. But what if he wasn't? What if Tyson had stepped into the octagon against Royce? The answer might surprise you. Tyson, speaking to UFC, said this about being able to beat Royce Gracie in an MMA fight. "Well, in '93, I was in prison, so there would not have been a fight," said Tyson, speaking practically. "But there is no way I would have won. I had no idea what was going on with that type of fighting and would have been taken by surprise. I would have had to train in that particular art of fighting for that to happen. That's a particular art. You are not going to go in there with just your hands. You need to have a great ground game as well. You also need a great wrestling game to be successful. You have to have both skills, wrestling and boxing. That's the truth." Royce Gracie was the face of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a martial art built on leverage, control, and submissions. Mike Tyson, pure, unfiltered knockout power. Two legends, two completely different worlds. Royce Gracie once said, "You put the devil on the other side, and I will come to fight." Tyson famously said, "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face." A MMA boxing versus grappling fight has happened in the past already. It wasn't Tyson versus Gracie, it was Tony versus Couture. Here's a brief summary of how that played out. James Lights Out Tony was a 3-division boxing world champion with 72 wins, 44 KOs, and a reputation for slick defense and knockout power. At 42 years old, he wanted to prove that pure boxing could dominate MMA. Randy the Natural Couture, a UFC Hall of Famer, was a 6-time UFC champion in both heavyweight and light heavyweight divisions. A master wrestler with underrated striking, Couture was the perfect test for Tony's MMA experiment. The fight? A grappling clinic. Round 1. Opening seconds, Tony stands in a wide boxing stance, hands low, taunting Couture. Couture, calm and patient, circles. The takedown. At 15 seconds, Couture ducks under a lazy Tony jab, grabs a single leg, and dumps Tony on his back effortlessly. The crowd erupts. Tony is in deep trouble. Ground domination. Couture immediately passes to half guard, then full mount. Tony, with zero grappling experience, tries to shrimp out, but just flails. The submission at 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Couture locks in an arm triangle choke, squeezes, and Tony, completely helpless, taps out. Total fight time, 3 minutes, 19 seconds. What went wrong for Tony? No takedown defense. Tony didn't sprawl, didn't underhook, didn't even try to stop Couture's shot. No ground game. Once on his back, he had no clue how to escape or defend submissions. Overconfidence. He truly believed his boxing alone would save him. It didn't. Tony's MMA career ended that night. He never fought in the UFC again. Couture proved again that elite wrestling beats pure boxing in MMA. The fight became a cautionary tale for strikers who think they can ignore grappling. Final verdict? A brutal but necessary lesson. MMA is not boxing. If you can't wrestle, you're just prey for grapplers. Would Tony have had a chance in a pure boxing match? Absolutely. But in MMA, he was a lamb led to slaughter. Now, has there ever been an instance where a boxer beat a grappler? Believe it or not, yes. Well, kind of. This one takes us back to 1976. The grappler? Antonio Inoki. The boxer? None other than Ali. You heard that right, Muhammad Ali. While there was no real winner, it is of the opinion of Beyond the Tap, Ali won, Inoki fought dirty. Let's break this one down. The fight took place in Tokyo, Japan, June 26, 1976. Ali at this time was the heavyweight boxing champion of the world and was at the peak of his fame. Fresh off his fight against Joe Frazier, the fight known as the Thrilla in Manila. Antonio Inoki was Japan's top pro wrestling star, a legit catch wrestler. He was potentially the precursor to modern-day MMA fighters. This fight was promoted as the War of the Worlds, boxing versus wrestling, USA versus Japan. The problem? The rules were a mess. Ali's camp insisted on heavy restrictions to protect him. No closed fist strikes for Inoki, only open hand chops. No takedowns unless one knee was down, a bizarre rule that crippled Inoki's offense. If Inoki went for a submission, Ali could grab the ropes to break it. Inoki, realizing he couldn't fight normally, changed his entire strategy. Unfortunately, this fight was 15 rounds of boredom. Inoki's game plan? The human crab. Instead of engaging, Inoki spent 90% of the fight on his back, kicking Ali's legs like a low-budget MMA fighter. He threw over 100 leg kicks, mostly to Ali's thighs and knees. Whenever Ali got close, Inoki would shoot for a single leg, then fall back due to the rules. Ali's frustration? Ali, used to dancing and punching, couldn't land clean shots. Inoki was lying down the whole time. He taunted Inoki, "Get up and fight, coward!" But Inoki didn't care. By the later rounds, Ali's legs were badly bruised and swollen, limiting his movement. The crowd's reaction? Fans booed, threw trash, and chanted "money back." Some called it the most boring fight in history. The aftermath? A draw that felt like a loss. Ali's legs were so damaged, he developed blood clots and was hospitalized for weeks. Inoki was criticized for his cowardly strategy, but later became a legend in Japan. The fight exposed a harsh truth. Mixed rules fights don't work unless both fighters can actually use their skills. Legacy, the fight that helped create MMA. This disaster inspired the creation of modern MMA. Promoters realized they needed real rules for cross-discipline fights. Ali never did anything like this again, sticking to boxing where he belonged. Final verdict? A freak show that taught the world why MMA needed to exist. Would it have been different under real MMA rules? Yes. Inoki would have taken Ali down and submitted him quickly. But as it happened, a terrible, painful, but historically important farce. So, who wins? Tyson by murderous left hook or Royce by nap time choke? Smash that like button before Mike finds out we doubted him, and comment below before Royce armbars your keyboard. Let's break it down. If Tyson had entered UFC 1, how would it have gone? Tyson himself said, "There is no way I would have won. I had no idea what was going on with that type of fighting and would have been taken by surprise." Although if Tyson had by chance gotten lucky, Tyson in his prime had the fastest hands in boxing. If he clipped Royce early, lights out. But if Royce got his hands on Tyson, the moment they hit the ground, it's over. Tyson himself admits he had no ground game back then. Tyson's humility here is insane. The baddest man on the planet admitting he would have lost? That's respect. And look at him now. Tyson trains jiu-jitsu. He knows the truth. In a real fight, you need more than just hands. This fantasy fight wasn't just about who would win. It was about proving that no single style is unbeatable. Royce Gracie changed fighting forever. And Tyson? He evolved too. Two legends, one impossible dream fight, and a lesson that changed combat sports forever.